Hey everybody! I can't find my guitar strap. I was trying to do something cool, hang out back here, do a little... My Paget Model 1 is back. Daniel! Hey, buddy. Yeah, so this might be a little wonky because there's the screen here, but you're here. And this is my first thing with I just bought a new camera. So, if you care, I'll tell you about cameras. But say, I care about cameras, and I'll tell you what I got. But, my Paget Model 1 is back. And, so this one had just need a little bit of TLC from Ben, and it came back. It's so good. If you're a patron or a channel member, if you joined down below, you would already have seen that video, which is pretty amazing. Yeah. So Daniel, your LOO is going back to Nashville for its bridge separation repair. Gibson took responsibility. That's great. Daniel cares about cameras and guitars. Okay. I'll finish talking about the Paget. So the Paget here, the bridge, this didn't bother me too much. The bridge came up just a little bit, but it bothered Ben because he's really brilliant in particular. And so he wanted to fix that. And then it also had a little like ramp on the fingerboard here. So I just couldn't get the action to be right without it buzzing. And so he ended up taking it, crowning, leveling some frets, and then fixing the thing here where it joins the body, re-gluing the bridge, and he cut 2 saddles. So now I have a saddle that it should be for when it's the lowest, and then one in the summer that's actually a lower saddle when the guitar gets I don't know, swells up from the humidity. Anyway, Papa Richard, Southern Indiana. Hey, how are you? Glad you're here. James is here. James Birtles. Daniel. Okay. What do I do with this? So, my camera. So this camera is a Canon EOS R. The EOS R, which it's kind of the best of the mirrorless Canon, full frame Canon cameras that came out maybe 2 years ago. And so anyway, it literally showed up yesterday afternoon from FedEx, and then I had to charge the batteries this morning. And so this is the first thing I did with it. Now I rented a camera, a Canon EOS R, when I was in Nashville last week. So I put out a Gallagher demo video yesterday that's actually in 4K, because this camera can shoot 4K, but it's 4K, but it's like shoots in a lot. So anyway, it's an exciting day. It is a sign of good progress. I've been working really hard to save up and get a new camera, because my camera that I used forever broke and could not be used for video last summer. I had a couple of videos where also I was like, what is going on with the audio? And the mic input broke. And then a couple other things broke. So anyway, Rasmus is here. Oh, I guess I can turn this ticker thing off now. But Rasmus is here. Elliot is here. Hey, buddy. Fellers. Oh, Patrick, what's this? Patrick says, my daughter accidentally knocked over my Ibanez acoustic, a beater, but my only acoustic, and I cracked the heel. Getting a quote to see if it's worth fixing. I'm sorry. That's hard. Yeah. I took 2 guitars over to Ben Paget yesterday to get fixed. And, dude, it's always hard. Like, you feel just, like, embarrassed and stuff. So, Darcel says, hi from snowy upstate New York. Awesome. Glad you guys are here. It is cold and rainy here, which actually is not that cold. It's like 50, 40, high 40s and rainy. And so that's better because we got so much snow and then it just stuck around for 3 weeks. And so it's just been just sloggy everywhere. Or like just crunchy, cold, crispy ice the last little bit. But yeah, this week was good. I felt like I never got to catch up. every day I finish the day. I joke with my assistant that Mondays are my days for existential doubt and dread. That's the days where I'm like, I don't know about money, and I don't know about time, and I don't know about relationships and people, and everything is hard. And I joked to her the other day saying, like, I know when this is all over, I'm going to be selling insurance, which that, if you know me, which I think a lot of you do, selling insurance would be soul crushing for me. I took the health, life, and disability insurance licensure class maybe 10 years ago, and I just realized, like, if I had to do this, I would starve. Sonia, hey, how are you? Glad you're here. Yeah. So anyway, just invited your grandson to this video. Awesome. Tell him I said hi. Hope he shows up soon. Every day is good for existential dread. Yeah, spoken like a true philosophy professor. It's interesting. So I've had to switch gears into how I spend the first thing, because what I try to do is I try to come in first thing and catch up. And if I do that, I catch the things that I avoided all last week, and it just puts me into a weird space. So what I find is, for my time management organization, is that it's much better for me if I can hang in there and start the week with something really fun and exciting. So we're starting a new thing next week where I will start Monday mornings filming, creating content. That way I get to spend all weekend kind of dreaming about what I'm going to think and say. Because unfortunately, just at the clip that I've been going the last little bit, I don't get to prepare for videos in the way that I hoped. So that's where I brought in my, what would I call it? My team? Yeah, so I have an assistant who is amazing. Skylar, I've talked about her. She's amazing. And so she came in and led a meeting on Tuesday with Dylan, my editor. And so we put together a content calendar for the next month. So if you see stuff looking better, that is directly because of Skylar. And yeah, and so anyway, here's a good question. Rasmus says, what do you think about ivory for guitar saddles or nuts? I've got some mammoth ivory for the LOO build, ivory saddle and ebony nut. Ebony nut, that'll be cool. So ethically and morally, I think you're okay. Like, I mean, it's an animal product, but I mean, you know, it's like mammoth. Ain't no more mammoths around. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. I know the other place, I mean, you can still find ivory. So there's a guitar, there's another video that you'll see probably next week. There was so much fun stuff when I went over and hung out with Ben Padgett yesterday that I chopped out this second chunk, because he has an Emery guitar from the turn of the century, from like 1880s, 1890s. That's Brazilian rosewood back and sides, red spruce top. But it is, Rasmus, I'll send you the video. It is, I mean, it probably has 20 or 30 holes on the bottom bout, like all along the back side where you, like the back of the guitar. And it's like, they just like, they put spruce inside of the rosewood to stop it from cracking. They drilled holes through it and then anchored to it, and they glued everything together. And it was rough. So, but he's putting it together. He took the back off and he's rebracing it now, and it's going to be really cool when it's done. And there's a chunk of it that he is missing, like proper ivory. And so the question is, where do you get ivory? How do we do this? And so he's looking at old piano keys. He has an old Steinway that he could take the keys, and there's something, I don't know. Can you bend ivory or like shape it? So I don't know. But yeah, maybe he'll just have to cut very short pieces to make, it's like the contour right where your arm would cross the top of the guitar. Zach, hey buddy, how are you? So, all right. Well, I don't know what else is going on. This week's has been good overall. The last couple weeks have just been expensive. Just, you know, like I think for a lot of you guys too. Just life is expensive. Having kids is expensive. And yeah. So, but I feel like I'm kind of over the hump with, I got a new camera. I now have like the camera I want, and it will, you know, it's basically as modern of a camera as I can get, because I've had to abandon, and hopefully some of y'all can sympathize with this. So I grew up quite poor, and my parents were very poor. We were on food stamps when I was a kid, And I always would, like, my parents always showed us, like, if you work hard, you can change your situation. And my dad did. My dad worked really hard and was able to become really successful later in his career. But I think there's some trauma that came along with me in that, of like an intense sense of frugality that I carry that just messes me up. So I hang on to stuff. I put up with stuff for way too long instead of just fixing it and moving on. Like, did any of you buy stuff and get labels and the labels were all crumply and like smashed up? I put up with that for 6 months. So we had a printer. It was a printer that I got when I left a job, and the guy that I worked for said, hey, take this printer. We're going to throw it out. If you want it, you can have it. And the only reason I kept it was that it had like 3 giant toner cartridges, and so it's printed. So for 10 years, I've had this printer. And the last year or two, it can only print 1 page at a time, and then it crumples up paper. And I just put up with so much nonsense for so long. And then Skylar came in and said, like, just stop. Like, you realize you're spending 30 minutes to print 3 sheets of paper. Your time is worth more than that. You could make more money if you just go in there, print stuff out, and then it's done. So we did that. And so anyway, all of that to say, there's just a sense of frugality in me that is not helpful. It gets in my way, where being frugal and being clever and being sly definitely are handy, and they come in, they benefit me for sure. But anyway, so Jeff says mammoth ivory added to the endangered species list. I have mammoth ivory, camel, and water buffalo on all my acoustics. Okay. I mean, am I an idiot? Mammoth. It's not the same as elephant, right? Like, but isn't this like frozen in the permafrost and they find it? I don't know. Camel ivory? Ivory. Camel. Water, but what? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Matt McFarlane is here from Paisley. Hey, buddy. Hey, how is the audio? Is it clipping? How does it sound? Last week we got off and I realized I'd used this mic, the Aston Origin, because I was doing a lot more acoustic guitar stuff. And let's see if it'll focus. There it is. I really like this microphone. Sounds great. Looks cool. It's like the size of a can of beer. Okay, that's what I thought. Mammoths are extinct. So, I don't know what was happening. It's clipping a little. Okay, I'm going to turn the mains down a bit. Okay, how does that sound? Looks like I'm coming in at like 10 to 12 under. Is that too quiet? Tell me what you think. They are, okay, so they're related to elephants. Yeah, my understanding is that it's like woolly mammoths are the ones that are, yeah. Yeah, Jeff says extinct, camel bone, water buffalo, horn. Got it. Okay. Yeah, horn is different. Is definitely different. So, okay. Rasmus says audio is perfect. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, man, I'm interested in like I learned some things today or this week about the materials that go into guitars that are so you just have to think about the implications of those things and the nuance of those things, and I think that to understand a thing clearly, it requires getting through some complexity. A friend of mine always says that clarity lives just on the other side of complexity. And so I think, anyway, one of the things we're talking about, there are these 2 giant blue spruce trees that live like right across the street from Ben Padgett's place. And I asked him about them, and he's like, well, the problem is, are they around a bunch of other trees or are they off on their own? Because if they're off in a field on their own, when they grow up, they'll just shoot branches out from, a couple feet off the ground. And I didn't think about that, but that would obstruct the straight grain needed for a guitar top. And so he's like, that tree, even though that tree is 70 feet tall, it really only has maybe 8 or 10 feet at the very bottom that is straight enough without any branches coming out and would have actually usable wood in it. So I never thought about that. It's just an interesting complication. So, all right. Well, let's jump into some stuff. Mammoth are no longer in danger, technically extinct for over 5,000 years. Supposedly there are folks saying playing with their DNA. So hopefully, oh boy, there are some movies about that. What could go wrong? Okay. So I just want to walk through. There are 5 things that you can do to a guitar. When I get guitars, let me take that again. One of the questions I get asked every single time I like tell somebody at a dinner party or when we're out and about, like, what do you do for a living? Oh, I buy and sell guitars, and I have a YouTube channel where I teach people how to buy guitars. And people are always like, oh, cool. Well, what do you have to do to them? Like, do you refurbish guitars? And I don't, like, I say no. I don't really refurbish guitars. But there are 4 or 5 things. Well, I think there's 6. Let me look at this. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we'll call that one 5. I was trying to remember a bonus. This list can change. But anyway, there are 5 things basically that you can do to a guitar that take very little, almost no. Most of them take barely any expertise. And so I'll teach you how to do those. So, all right. We are in it. So, hey, before we do this, make sure you hit a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. Those things really help YouTube know that this stuff is helpful, and I'm going full force. So I've got some sponsors coming up that are going to be fun. It's kind of a different vibe to the channel of me doing like actual like ad reads and stuff. But anyway, should be fun, should be cool, and there will be coupon codes and all kinds of cool stuff for you guys. Okay, so number 1, just restring it. Like, just put new strings on a guitar and it will sound amazing. And while you're doing this, pretty much the other 4 will flow while you're restringing a guitar. And so the number 1 thing, and I was wondering, I didn't quite set it up to do it. I was thinking about I could restring a guitar and I could do these things while we're talking about it. Should I do that? Should I restring a guitar or should we just talk about it? I probably should. You tell me what you want me to do. We can figure this out. But yeah, so number 1, just restring the guitar, because as you do that, you're going to have access to all the things that would also be there. Like, I'll show you. Okay, well, I'm just going to do it. I don't see any comments, but. So, yeah, so we'll do it as we watch here. So if I can do this, I can't aim this down because it's just put on. Anyway, we're good. Okie doke. Ah! Guys, it's my mission to not break anything this week. Hey-o, Jose's here. Hey, buddy. Jose, the king of Southern California. The king of California. Maybe not Southern. All of it. But, okay, so we're just going to restring. Oh, yeah, please restring all of yours. Deal. I know, do you guys know people that, like, don't restring their own guitars? What do you think of that? What do you make of that? That seems crazy to me. Like, how would you not know how to restring your own guitar? Yeah. Abalone guy. I don't know what that means. Vom Red. Red rum? Nope. Derevmov? Okay. Also, this is the thing I used to do because I thought it looked cool, but... Oh, you can't see because the microphone's in the way. So this is the thing that I used to do that I thought was cool, and it's just, like, unfortunately, it's kind of jangly and not good. But, so, this is the guitar that we are going to... Hang on. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's just lazy. That's me, Daniel. Daniel, we've talked about this. I know. You can do it. I believe in you. All of these things will help you. You're kind of one of the main people I thought about in this. This will help you for sure. That's just lazy. I think it's lazy. I think other people are just concerned. I mean, like, I don't feel comfortable like changing the oil in my car. So I get this, but what if there is a comparison? This is, I don't know what this is. This is like vacuuming the floor mats. This is easy. Takes no skill. You can't really damage anything. But anyway, okay. So the guitar that we're going to use is this 1959 Gibson LG1. And I am sorry, I have been so busy that I haven't filmed the video on these. And I know a lot of people have asked me how much these are going to be and if I'm going to sell them. I am going to sell all of them. I've got a guy here in town that knew Clay that's looking at this one, but I will get as many of these out into the world as possible. Both ES125s, they just need a little more time and energy than I'm able to put into them today or this week. So anyway, Darcel says, I'm always convinced I'm going to take an eye out when I restring a guitar when I'm tuning it, but I will string them myself. That's good. Okay. String change is a hood for inspection and maintenance. Is a hood? Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's, to me, I'm like, this is like, spend some time with it, look at it, think about it, feel it, look for cracks, look for anything that's going on. It also gives you access to things. So anyway, Hector, I agree. I love changing strings on guitars. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut off these extra string ends. And usually what happens is this happens because people just didn't have wire cutters when they do it. I've been there. I've used toenail clippers. I'm not proud of it. Oh boy, this one's really in there. Okay. So this guitar was owned by a friend of mine, and yeah, there we go. This guitar was owned by my friend Clay, and he passed away 2 years ago. He passed away in it was like right at the beginning of 2019. No, 2020. And his wife was my kindergarten teacher. Daniel calls the Juan Huipe. Sure. That's a really cool one. There are a few things I enjoy more in life, and I mean that, in life, than restringing a classical guitar. It is so therapeutic and so fun, especially to get good at it. So yeah. Also string winders. They're a tool that you definitely should have, but I definitely you can snap some strings if you just go whipping away on these. Jay says, I change strings every 2 or 3 weeks, and I play 8 days a week, probably more than average. Yeah. So I guess you're probably not playing coated strings then. I play coated strings. I play about the same. I don't play every guitar every day. But I'm with you. I play a ton. All right. So, I'll tell you a story. The worst I have ever hurt myself working on a guitar. Well, the most dramatically I've ever hurt myself. That's a better way of saying it, because I dropped a soldering iron one time and grabbed it with my whole hand, and my entire hand got burned on a soldering iron. That one was awful. But the most dramatically I've ever been hurt working on a guitar was when I was restringing it and I was stretching out some strings, and I went to pull, it was like the D or the A string, and I was pulling it and it popped. And so the center cord broke, but the wire that wrapped it didn't break. And so basically 2 big pointy bits broke apart and then stuck into my hand, diagonally into my hand. So my hand was stuck and I couldn't get it up. I could just feel it poking into my hand. Sorry, this is I won't make it too graphic. But I basically had to flip my hand over this way and then clip the string and then get it. But it was just, ow, as a string goes under my thumbnail. It was just awful. This is where also, if you know how to do the luthier knot, when you're tying strings, where you go back around and under, I'll show you in a second. Uh-oh. You guys see that? The nut just fell off. Well, okie doke. Oh, that's a replaced nut. That looks like Warnie. So Warren was the guy I worked for at the Vintage Guitar Shop at the Guitar and Amp Center. So he made this one. And there's 2 little drips of glue that didn't hold. I have a solution for that. Daniel, you break strings when you restring, and being cheap, breaking strings is against my being. That's why I pay to have it restrung. It's not the end of the world if you pay to have it restrung. I don't think you're a bad person if that's what you're worried about. It also is true, like, if just your, like, who you are just doesn't work for that, like, you know, some people with spatial awareness or tactile things, that's fine. I get it. No shame. I just think you're going to have to kind of build in, like, well, that's going to be, how much does it cost you to get them restrung? That's a question. Because then you just have to kind of put that into, like, all right, every guitar I own, I'm going to spend, $20 a month getting it tuned or restrung. Also, when I take all 6 of the strings off, I take all 6, I kind of run them in one hand until I get all the tangly bits. Sorry, I burped. And then, like you're wrapping a cable, go down, loop it around. I've tried to put this in a YouTube video so many times, and it just never is that interesting. But you're on a live show, so you're getting the deep cuts, the stuff I don't ever get to do otherwise. So then I just go through and I just keep wrapping it through as it goes around, so that by the time it's done, I have this little thing that I can toss in the trash, and it's not going to poke or stab me, and it's also not going to hang out, not going to get caught up, tear the trash bag. That'll save you much frustration. So, hang on, a couple other questions coming in here. Since buying my recent, since buying my recent Takamine P3DC, I usually only play my Taylor 412, only using my Taylor 412 CE in the past 15 years. It's strange not having to hold peg heads down on strings when winding them. Hold peg heads down? Bridge pins? Peg heads? I don't know. Something going on there. Also, Diodario has a great newer XS acoustic strings. I like them. They're very, very bright, and I don't like how expensive they are. It feels like they're basically the same, and they're just like $17 for a set of strings. That's too much money for me. Bridge pins, I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so I have lots of guitars, so I ended up getting coated strings that last a really long time. I budgeted about $40 a month, which ends up in my guitar sinking fund. That's great. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's strings like, oh, got it. Okay, it goes through. Okay. I'll show you a trick here in a minute. If you have bridge pins that keep popping up, it probably just means that your bridge plate and your bridge pins, if you put a little bend in the end of the string to get it to curve around so you can put the bridge pin in, I'll show you here in a minute. But, so, number 1, put new strings on it. Number 2, so as soon as you have access to the rest of the guitar, I'm going to hold the nut in my hand here so it doesn't fall off. All of a sudden, there are all these places where dust and dirt kind of hang out that now you have access to, and now you can fix and clean and, get fixed up. That you just, all of us have been there where you try to like shove your finger under the strings this way, or get a tissue or a piece of cloth or something. So this is your moment to get the guitar actually cleaned up and looking good. Okay, so everything I need is here. So first thing I'm going to do, I guess this is the other one. I'm going to do a couple of these at the same time. So oil the fingerboard. I'm also going to polish the guitar. I'll put that title up in a minute. But this is your moment to get dust. This is also your moment to clean the fingerboard. Now, if you want, you can also, I think I actually put it in here too. So these two kind of happen at the same time. 2 and 3, you can clean the fretboard. And so what I would do, I'll show you what I use. Where is it? So, I use a couple things. Okay. I use a couple things. One of the things I use a lot is just a dry sponge with the Brillo pad on this end. This is not for finished maple fingerboards. Most of these things do not work for polished maple because there's a finish on that and you'll scratch it up. But you can also get really high grit sandpaper, like 2500 grit, 1500 on the bubble, 2500, 4000 grit, get really fine sandpaper, and that will just like clean up. It'll just get the gunk off your, off the frets themselves. And it will also expose like the oily, greasy stuff that stays on the fingerboard. This one's really clean. These frets, I mean, I believe this guitar, these are the original frets, but they are amazing. They have like almost no play, which is interesting. This guitar has a lot of play wear on it. But anyway, so clean the fretboard. I also, sometimes I'll use like a plastic brush. I don't use metal for a bunch of reasons because, I mean, the biggest one is it's pretty aggressive. And even though rosewood is tough and the frets are tough, you can still easily swipe too far. And so you either hit the top of the headstock on the finish, you'll scrape stuff up, or the easier one is to hit the top of the guitar up here. I wish I could get this. Yeah, you would get stuff up here. So let's oil the fingerboard. The oil that I use, and they're all about the same. People get frustrated by that. But this is the Dunlop 65. I got this a couple years ago for like $5 maybe. There's a link. There should be a link in the description down below for this. So this is only for use on unfinished fingerboards, which I don't think it would hurt a finished fingerboard. It just wouldn't do anything. It would just make the guitar slippery. But anyway, this is lemon oil. It smells great. That's a benefit. And yeah, in addition to smelling great, using my belly as a... wait, what? In Canada, the DW XS strings are $23.99. Yeah, not worth it. Not for a minute. Just want to say thank you for your content, Jeremy. You've been subscribed for a few months. Loving the vids, man. Thanks. Dude, this is awesome. I love making these videos. It's my favorite. This is my favorite work I've ever gotten to do in my whole life. And yeah, so if you want to see this stuff keep happening, it always helps to buy merch. Always helps to just give a thumbs up on the video or subscribe. Just interact more. So thank you. That's very awesome. So Sonia uses the 4/0 steel wool. Exactly. Same thing. Worked great. Painter's tape is perfect to protect your finish. Yes. On maple boards, if you're going to do this, it just takes a lot more time to put, but it is super fun and satisfying, and then amazingly fun to peel off. But anyway, for rosewood boards, most acoustic guitars for what we're kind of talking about. But perfect. Cole! Hey, buddy. Here you go. Yeah, pretty much equivalent to 800 to 1,000 grit. Yeah. Thank you, Randy. That's awesome. All right. Limb oil. I'm left-handed, so this is breaking my gait. But when I was 4, I was at a playground, and there were some older guys. I say older, they were like 7. I was 4. And they were wearing Power Rangers shirts, and I was wearing a Ninja Turtle shirt. And I said that I didn't like the Power Rangers, which I think I did. I don't know why I said it. They didn't take it kindly, and these 2 older boys pushed me off of like the platform where you're waiting for the slide, and there's like 3 steps down. They pushed me off of that, and I fell down, and I broke my arm. And I landed on my left arm, and I broke it. And so that's right. It's like the first summer I was playing Little League, and like it was just a bad time to break my left arm because I'm like learning how to write and all that stuff. So anyway, because of that, I ended up having to learn how to do a bunch of things with my right hand. And so I'm pretty well ambidextrous these days. I write with my left hand. I do a lot of fine motor skills, but I play guitar right-handed. I throw a baseball right-handed. But anyway, Elliot's a lefty who plays righty guitar too. Yeah. I have a video about that, and I think it takes so long to find the right guitar if you're right-handed, and it takes you just as long to find an okay guitar. So you like that, Rasmus? Stories with Jeremy. I'm going to start telling more stories, because that's kind of like in my normal life. That's how I interact. I've said this before, but story is the tool that we use to make sense of the world. And so there are things about stories, like our brain uses story to set our moral compass. So it helps us value the right things, help expose things that, like, it exposes truth and things that we want to strive for. So anyway, yep. What was this? This is, are you going to cover like the cracks and small crack doesn't go all the way through and say on the back of an acoustic? That's my issue with Taylor nowadays. Last week we looked through all of these guitars. There were 6 guitars that came in this batch. And as we did, actually, I've got an idea. Hang on. Will this help? Turn on this light. Is it too bright? It's too bright, boys. I'm sorry. You're going to see the menu for a second. Are you? There we go. Hang on. Where are you, ISO? All right, this is nonsense. I'm sorry. Okay. I think that's too bright. I'm turning it off. It doesn't help. Seems good brightness. Okay, I'll go back. Yeah, okay. Okay. Sheesh. I forget what I was saying. Anyway, yeah, last week we talked about all these guitars. There were 6 guitars that came in here. Last week, the whole thing was about, like, what's right with this guitar? What's wrong with this guitar? And so go back, watch that one. You can ask me if you have questions. You can also schedule calls with me. That's another great way to interact. And it's actually, you'll see this same shot because this is how I set up my camera. We do video calls this way, which those are super fun. Anyway, Daniel's getting his 8027 back. Sent it back in September to the factory for warranty for buzzing issue that components didn't resolve. Can't wait. That's awesome. My 17 is over there. Okay, we got a boogie. So the fretboard is oiled. You can also oil the bridge. During this time is also a good time to polish the guitar. And hey-o, Tom Dell in the house. But yeah, so what is happening? Go. Okay. So after you clean the fretboard is also a good time that you can then also have access to these little craggly bits that always get a lot of dirt stuck in them. So I'm going to do that. So this Jim Dunlop for that, and then Ernie Ball. There's also a link in the description for this stuff down below. That's an affiliate link. I get like pennies. Yeah, you spend $5, I get 3% or something. So I get pennies on this. But this stuff is awesome. I use this. I like this a lot. There used to be a Martin thing, but they stopped making it, I think. So anyway, Ernie Ball guitar polish. I like it. Shake well before application. Okay. Kind of go crazy with this. I also like the... This is also a good smelling one. Oh man, this guitar. This guitar is great. It has like the most beautiful checking on it. And there's no cracks. I mean, there's one crack on the top, but there's nothing crazy on this guitar. This one will be for sale probably sometime next week. It'll be made available. Hey, some other guys. McDowell County Young Life is in here. Mr. P. Dickey himself. Whoa. A giant hunk of dirt just, or like cobweb. I don't know. It was like dusty cobwebby stuff. Just came off of the bridge there. That's crazy. There's like a black streak. Hi from Norway. Hello. Man, it must be late. What time is it in Norway? Well, it's probably not that late. Probably 8 or 9 o'clock. Low saddle also. Hang on. Lunchtime. Cleaning fretboard. Yes. Satisfying, especially if it wasn't yours. It's especially satisfying if it isn't yours, Kraus? I don't know. I have a new Martin Reimagined D28 getting fixed today. The neck is clicking, but hopefully fixed. What do you mean clicking? Oh, yeah, that's easy. 9 p.m. This is perfect. Perfect in Norway. Oh, that's a great question. I commented on their Instagram, on Martin's Instagram about them today. Because it's, I don't know, it feels like you can just tell that it's the marketer. It's not really a guitar player. It's really tricky to find good marketers who are also guitar players. I happen to be one of them, I think. I like marketing and I like guitars. But, so my comment to Martin today was, hey, these are really cool. Are these aimed at people that are going to Collings and going to Thompson and Huss and Dalton? Because it seems like these guitars are definitely, so it would seem like these guitars are aimed at getting people to stay with Martin from the boutique world. Because Martin has they haven't had a boutique offering in the same price range. Like they'll do all the authentics and all that, but they don't do like top spec modern kind of guitars. And so anyway, I think that they're cool. I think they're real expensive. I think for my money, I would probably go with a Collings before I would do, especially the 00. Because like the 00s from Collings are so magical and so good. And then even the fancier dreadnoughts, like the 42 style, like why wouldn't you go with the Thompson? I mean, that's crazy money. We're talking $4,000 to $6,000 on there. But anyway. All right. I'm gonna get to restringing. This one's gonna be a little tricky because I'm just doing it standing on an office chair. James says, when I say by clicking, I mean that I hold the neck in my left hand and wipe down the back of the guitar. The sound of my right hand, the guitar makes a clicking sound around the neck joint. That's not good. Maybe it's a dovetail that's not sitting right. I just threw away 4 D45s Martin Deluxe. It sounded icky to me. Just playing, I wish. Okay, let me talk about, there are a couple other things you could do at this point if you are clever or handy during this time. So one of the other things we're going to do is we're going to polish and get the hard to reach dust easy. Like you just saw me do it. I was doing it while talking to you guys. It's not that hard. So between restringing the guitar, which we'll come back to here in a second, we'll close that loop. You can oil the fingerboard. You can clean the fretboard. Easy. Get all the dust. Polish around. The other one is you can adjust the saddle height. So with this guitar is very little. Saddle left. It doesn't quite need a neck reset, but if the neck moves at all and the action gets any higher, you don't have much more to go. And so this is where you could, if you were so inclined, you could do this a couple different ways. The best way to do it is if you have like a disc sander, and I don't mean like a random orbital, like handheld sander, because they have a squishy pad underneath. You need to find a way to actually sand these flat. And so the way that I do it, because I don't like sending up a ton of dust, so what I'll do is I'll put it on the flat stone or something that I know that is dead flat, and then I'll just work the saddle, and I'll get to where, and you can see there's like a line from where I've done it on this one. And anyway, so you can just take the saddle down. This is the one, like I would say this takes some skill, because you can't put this back on. And so if you go too far, you would have to get a new saddle or you would have to shim it up. And then shimming changes the tone. And that one hurts. So, oh boy, almost clicked in broadcast. But, yeah, adjust truss rod. That's the other one that we can do during this. Truss rod loose will cause the popping sound. That's true. It could be flexing inside there. Sean, slide a ruler along the frets, hitting the bridge. Yeah. So, also during this time, now it's tricky. You would need to have looked down the neck of this guitar to see if you need to adjust the truss rod before before you go. So right now, with no tension on the neck, this neck is dead flat. So by the time I put strings on it, it's going to increase, it's going to add some tension to that, and this will definitely change. So, all right. This guitar doesn't need a truss rod adjustment, so we're not going to right now. But ooh, let's talk about this. Okay, you've got bridge pin. I usually hold bridge pin in my right hand, and then I take the string with my left hand, and so I'm going to put it into the hole, and then I'm going to put the string down in there. And ideally, you want the string to sit kind of right up against that bridge pin. And when you do, it'll be happy. It won't move up. If you ever have bridge pins popping up, it just means that this string went in there too straight. So the trick that I do is I just grab the ball with my finger, and then I let my thumb kind of ride to the end of the tie, and I just bend it over a little bit so that it looks like this. You see that? Just that tiny little bit of bend then makes it to where that when this goes through, it's got room that it can wiggle and sit in there straight up. So Caleb, I'm working on the 59 Gibson LG1. We're just talking about restringing and 5 things you can do to a guitar that take no effort but do make the guitar sound better and play better. When I worked at a guitar shop, on average, I would change 5 sets. 5 to 10. Like, I'd say at a minimum, it's usually like 7 guitars a day I would have to change, whether that's I'm selling a guitar to somebody and they want new strings on it, or there are guitars in the shop that are just have dead strings, or they're repairs. So I did that. I worked at a guitar shop for 6 days a week, 5 or 6 days a week from 18 to 24. And so during that time, I mean, like, I did the math at one point, and it was thousands of guitars. I can change guitar strings in my sleep, like with my eyes closed. These strings, I'm using John Pierce strings, courtesy of Mr. Ben Padgett. All right. Here's the thing. Okay, let me bring you in here. I'm going to move the microphone. I'm just going to speak loudly, and you can hear me. Okay. So, to do the luthier knot, I'll do it this way. To do the luthier knot, and this is morally the right way to put strings on a guitar. So I bring the string all the way through, and then imagine 2 finger widths. I let that go back through. Now, I'm going to take the bottom of the string back around. And so now it's underneath the string. And I'm going to pull it all the way tight this way. And now I flip it over. And when I flip it over, it then makes this little loop back around it. And this is the actual right. So much action below camera. Manscaped sponsor, that's funny. They reached out. They asked if I don't know, felt a little improper. Oh, hey, I forgot a thing. The last one. This is one that will genuinely make your life better. Where is it? Oh, I missed it. Okay, hang on, let me type this. Alright, there's no caps. So, anyway, deal with it. This is a bonus one. Okay, lead pencil. Take a lead pencil and just color in the grooves. I'm going to do it this way because I can. So, you're just going to take that pencil and run it through the grooves of the nut. There's a little bit of like lead pencil will make it to where your strings slide easily through the nut. If you have a guitar that doesn't stay in good tune, or if you have a guitar that when you're tuning, you hear that ticking sound, that is your strings being too tight and sticking against the nut going through the guitar. So this is, I mean, this is the price of it. This is worth the price of entry. This is a trick that if you go to a shop, they're going to charge you a bunch of money to do basically this. Now, what they would do is probably use graphene. They would use, I've seen it sold as nut sauce. And it's just really fine graphite that sits in there. Okay, so I've colored through there. They're now totally ready to go. Now I do this. And I'm going to, this is where you watch your eyeballs. And as you wrap the strings, you want 2 or 3 wraps on most strings, 4 to 6 on the skinny ones. And, all right, there's one. Now rinse and repeat. If this was a YouTube video, this is where I would hit it up to like 15,000 or, that string went in my mouth. Guys, this is a dangerous way to do it. Wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, be impossible. You can do it. Look, take the string through. Let a little bit of slack back through. Take the string under the rest of the string. Pull it tight. So you're basically like pulling your arms apart. Then you wrap it up and over. Watch your eyeballs. Then you're good. You can do it. Daniel, if you come hang out, I will string all your guitars for free. What is happening? Okay. It kept like the nut, since it's not attached, it kept like kicking back. Would I change plastic? I'm gonna go back to this, to the wide shot. If I had plastic, would I change to bone? Maybe. I mean, it could help. It's not gonna be a huge thing. Staley, the loop looks good, but isn't yeah, it's not necessary. Nope. I don't know. This one feels like a moral thing. Like, thought the nuts were glued in place. They usually are. They're not glued. Well, they're not like intensely glued, but they usually have like a little drop of something. And this one had it, but it came off. This is an aftermarket nut. This one, I can tell by how it's made that this was made by the guy I used to work for. Oh, the slotted headstock trick is for tying the luthier knot. That is so hard. That's like, you have to be firmly committed to the way of life that is the luthier knot if you're going to do it on a slot headstock. The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face to shine upon you. Oh, well, missed the trash can on both of those. Yeah, bye. Oh, don't stab my eyeballs. So other things you could do, if you were so inclined, other things that would take just a tiny bit of effort or just forethought is you could also lubricate. I mean, once a year, you could lubricate the tuners on your guitar. Open gear tuners probably need it more than anything else because they seem to dry out a bit. But you could just run a little bit of like 3-in-1 oil or something in it. Oh, Rasmus, I meant to respond to this. I saw this earlier. Yes, so Rasmus is definitely right. So old celluloid pick guards will freak out with some, not all. I think it's the ones with silica. But this one is under finish, this pick guard, so I wasn't too worried about it. Did you know there are safety glasses that can save your eyeballs? You know, I have OSHA certifications. I'm a professional in OSHA, in respiratory protection. But, oh, shoot. I wasn't paying attention. That's annoying. My wraps went up. There we go. Yeah, I should wear safety glasses. For sure. What about selling it all for one? What do you mean, Max? Selling all... Are you saying, what about selling all guitars for one guitar? All guitars for one glory one. Jake says, I have a power string winder, battery operated. Looks like a drill. It's great. Yes, I do too. I just forget to use them. I had a cheap little one that I bought from, what's that place called? Harbor Freight. And the battery died like after a year and I just never bought another one. One time, I was working in the guitar shop, and I was cutting a guitar string. I was cutting the high E, I think the extra, and I cut the B string, like right there. And there's this guy in the shop, and he's like, "Oh, that's the shit that'll make a preacher cuss." And he's not wrong. Like, it's so annoying when you accidentally cut the wrong string. Only two things scare Matt: snakes and high E strings. I think the G string is actually the highest tension, right? All right, tuner. A tuner. I love these new sound hole tuners. I just got 2 of these recently. Got set to 446. 440. There we go. I'm hearing noises. Let me scoot over this way so you can see me. And now the stretch. This is what most people kind of skip. Jake says, just watch your D17 all mahogany video. Do you still have that? It was the best sound of any guitar I've heard on any channel. Man, that's amazing. I don't still have that. I just didn't have a place for it. Because I had just gotten a Huss and Dalton. And I have little kids. And I don't know if you guys know this. Kids are quite expensive. I don't think I have a strap out here. Might have to look. Yeah, that's not a strap button. There's one stretch. We'll do another one. Your house would have been a good place. That's true. Who'd that go to? That went to somebody that watches my videos. When I filmed that video, it just got so crazy. That was like about a year ago. And it was when there was no power for like 2 days in Louisiana. Spent all day driving around looking for firewood. Eventually spent like $200. Spent like $200 on firewood that day to get enough fire to go through the night. And then that night, one of my kids was in the living room by the fireplace and she couldn't see a fire in it. So for some reason, she just put her hand like right on top of a wood stove and just torched her hand. And like the hospital had no power. They were running on a generator. Anyway, all of it was just crazy, crazy, crazy. But that video turned out really cool. It was beautiful. Got to fly the drone around on the beach. And yeah. Grant says, can a solid top laminate back inside the guitar be kept on a stand rather than a case? Yes, I keep all my guitars on cases, and I only have a couple that are all solid. Or I only have a couple that are laminate. So the main trick you need to have. Oh boy, I didn't turn off my humidifier. It's rainy outside, and I didn't check. But the main thing you need to have is a hygrometer. And so a hygrometer will give you humidity and temperature. So it's 69 degrees in here and 63% humidity. So I'll turn this guy off. But yeah, you could definitely do that. Jansen, congratulations, man. They just had a baby. That's awesome. I have a nephew. He was just born this morning. So it's a good day for babies to show up in the world. All right, let me turn that off. All right, so this guitar, I mean, it's gone through, like, it should be pretty much settled and sorted. It didn't need much. And so we restrung it. We cleaned the bridge. We cleaned the fingerboard. We cleaned the whole guitar with polish. We got dust out of the way. We checked the action. We checked the truss rod. And all this took very little actual skill. And it turned out pretty great. So here, I'll play it into the mic. Good sound little guitar. Now, this guitar, like, I mean, it's a ladder braced Gibson from the 50s, and so it sounds a little like a cocked wah, but overall, cool guitar. Let me hang it up real quick, and then I'll come back, and we'll do just a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes of Q&A. Yeah, congrats on a baby. Is the high E string close to falling off the 12th fret? Let me check. No. There's plenty of room on that one. 18th of an inch or something. Sorry, 1/8 of an inch, maybe. Yeah, this LG1 doesn't have that. Randy, how do you not love that old sound? Dude, yeah, seriously. It's a good sounding guitar. It sounds I was so hard on this style of guitar for a long time. Like, I don't think they sound great, but I think they sound vibey. Like, it couldn't be used for everything. Like, I think it probably would be the wrong guitar for like one person singer-songwriter. But anyway. Oh, Max, see you, buddy. Good hanging out. But I do think with this, I think it hit me last week. That guitar sounds kind of like a dobro, kind of like a resonator. So if you would treat it like that, that thing would be perfect for you. So anyway, yeah, I don't think it works great for everybody, but in the right situation, it could be great. Cool. Well, any other questions before I get out of here? Here's a good question. What's the best application for non-scalloped bracing versus scalloped bracing? That's a really good question. Okay, so scalloped bracing is better for a lead guitar player. It is better for someone that needs extra volume, extra oomph to jump out and get out and do lead lines. So if you're overly melodic, if you are a lead player, if you're adding texture and stuff, that could be a really great guitar for you. It could be the wrong guitar, or a better use for non-scalloped is if you're a singer and you don't have a particularly loud voice. It just works well for you to be able to kind of get over it. For me, like, the guitar that I lost the most money I've ever lost on any guitar is the most money I've ever lost on a guitar was a Husson Dalton DRH custom, scalloped braces, large sound hole, Indian rosewood back and sides, red spruce top. That guitar was so loud, I couldn't ever get over it. So anyway, I think, yeah, lead player, get a scalloped guitar, singer-songwriter, hang with non-scalloped braces. And yeah, but check them out too. I mean, it all depends on you and your level of confidence and your preferences and all that. Good tips today. How's that finger slide coming? It's not. I have had no time. They're just sitting up here. It's my goal to work on it. The Black Mountain picks, the slide. So yeah, it's very cool just the way that it works. It just fits on your finger really well, and you could play pretty easily with it and then use the slide. So I'll work on it. Since getting a setup on my CD140, it's in its case 2 or 3 days, it's still in tune. That's awesome. Yeah, guitars, once they get happy, once they get settled and sorted and, you know, the saddle's right and the nut is right and the frets are right and the guitar is happy and is living as one physics system, yeah, they'll stay in tune forever. What's crazy is you can even get them where you can like ship them and they stay in tune. Is it time to buy or sell a guitar collection? It is time to sell right now because prices are super high. People have lots of money. I'll talk about this here in a couple weeks. But tax season is a time to sell guitars. It's not really a time to buy guitars. So anyway, I think if you can, right now is the time to take good pictures, write good descriptions. If you don't know how to do that stuff, if you don't know how to write good descriptions, take good pictures, read people, and know how to really sell stuff really well, you need to check out Write Guitars Faster. This is my course. This is the best thing I've ever been able to make, and it feels like a shameless plug, but this is, 2 times in my life, my family's life has bottomed out to where it's like everything must be sold, or we will be homeless. Maybe that's a smidge dramatic, but it's not far off. So right now is the time to sell guitars. If you have guitars that you're not in love with, right now you will get the most money you would ever get for them. So why wouldn't you try and sell them? So Ride Guitars Faster. It's a 19 video course. Tom actually who asked this question, Tom just finished it. And he said that the selling part was the most helpful thing for him because I teach you how to take good photos. There's a whole section just on photography using your phone. Not even fancy, no fancy cameras, just basic lighting, basic how to take pictures, how to write descriptions. And then there's a whole other section that just covers how to read people, how to build relationships. Because if anything we're lacking in the last couple of years, it's human interaction. And we've lost the ability to kind of read and understand, people. And so most of communication is actually unspoken. So anyway, check out Ride Guitars Faster. Tom, thanks for that question. Oh, Jake, that's so nice. Love the show because you're keeping it real. Not over the top, just normal guy with some great advice. Thanks. I try. Slick transition. Look at that. Yeah, no, that's just, that really is. I don't know. My life is committed to fixing one problem, which is people feeling disconnected from each other and uninspired with music. So if I can help people discover like deep, meaningful friendships with people and make music, sheesh, that's the problem I'm trying to fix in my life. So I spent a lot of time. It was 3 months of like probably 4 days a week. I was working so hard from September to December or to November on that course. So anyway, yeah, it was a smooth pitch. Thanks, guys. Yeah. All right. Well, it's about freaking weekend time, huh? So, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'm thinking about, so yeah, realistically, just being honest, like, need more people to buy Ride Guitars Faster. Cause it's, of the profit margin things that I do, that one has the highest, but there is no possible way that people wouldn't do that and immediately save more than $150, $147. So anyway, Bo, hey buddy, how are you? But yeah, so anyway, that's the end of the course, or that's the end of the course. That's the end of this live show. So, couple things before we go, as we're talking about it. Number one, we talked about the course. Number two, I have a Sweetwater shop that if you want, you can use the link in the description down below. That'll take you to Sweetwater. It'll show you the things that I love and use every day. You'll see this microphone. You'll see this arm. You'll see that interface that you're hearing through. You'll hear a bunch of the guitars that I have around here. And if you buy those, I get a small commission. And that's a great way to help kind of support my family and the work that we're doing. And yeah, and then there's this one that we just talked about, which is Ride Guitars Faster. Buy, sell, build. Cool. On my way to look at buying a collection. Yeah, no, I think, there's way more variables than just tax returns. But yeah, good luck. Tell me how it goes. Best of luck, Tom. All right, guys, gals, thank you so much. Also, there's new coffee in the shop. If you want fresh, totally, I think the beans were just roasted this week or something. Go order some coffee. There's only like 6 bags left, or otherwise you have to wait a week or something. So anyway, thanks everybody. Have fun. Good hanging out. See you later.